So today, I'm announcing how the federal government is strengthening the criminal code to better protect all Canadians. And tomorrow, I'll make an important announcement on border security. This is how the federal government can help municipalities and provinces get criminals off the streets, disrupt and dismantle criminal networks, reinforce the justice system with tough and comprehensive bail reform, and build a stronger, safer, more secure Canada. Keeping Canadians safe is one of our new government's core missions, one we have focused relentlessly on from day one. Just 3 weeks after the election, when Parliament opened, we immediately introduced the strongest legislation in Canadian history to secure our borders and crack down on gun trafficking and illegal drugs, such as fentanyl. We want to put radar out of work. In September, when Parliament returned, we introduced new legislation to combat the horrifying rise in hate and violent intimidation, including to protect against anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. We're strengthening the criminal code to get tough on bail and sentencing, keeping violent criminals and repeat offenders off our streets and out of our communities. And second, we are investing in frontline law enforcement, hiring 1,000 new RCMP personnel to keep our country and communities safe. To start, to start, the Minister of Justice will be tabling legislation within the next week with strong reforms on bail and sentencing. We're getting violent criminals and repeat offenders off the streets, full stop. Right now, in most bail hearings, the starting point is to release. And the Crown must prove why someone should not be released on bail, making it too easy for repeated violent offenders to quickly get back on the street, sometimes back into the same communities that they just committed crimes in. Our new law will flip that script by creating new reverse onus bail provisions for violent and organized crime-related offenses. We're making bail stricter to keep you safer. With so-called reverse onus bail, it will no longer be up to the Crown to prove why someone should stay behind bars. It will be up to the accused to prove to the court why they can be trusted to be released. Their risk of reoffending and their history of past 10 years will be considered. These strong new reverse onus bail provisions will apply to violent auto theft, to break and enter, to human trafficking and smuggling, to assault, to sexual assault, and to extortion involving violence or violent threats. Simply put, these changes will keep violent repeat offenders of these crimes off our streets and out of our communities. Canada's new government will also toughen sentences for repeat offenders of auto theft, of organized crime, and of home invasion, so that criminals who have repeatedly victimized your community do not have the chance to do so again. We are delivering the change to keep violent repeat offenders off our streets. We'll also allow for consecutive sentencing for violent and repeat offenders, so that a 7-year sentence and a 5-year sentence can mean 12 years behind bars, not just 7. This change will keep dangerous criminals off our streets for longer. And to protect workers and businesses, we will implement harsher sentencing for organized retail theft. No worker in a neighborhood convenience store should have to worry about being robbed by gangs or feeling that no one can intervene and no one will face justice. In addition, we will reverse laws from previous governments that are simply not working. And the first of those is conditional sentences for sexual assault. Right now, someone convicted of sexual assault can be eligible for a conditional sentence, meaning they may be able to serve their sentence at home, in the very community where their victim lives. That is not justice. Our legislation will put an end to this. If you commit sexual assault, you will serve your sentence in a correctional facility. The second major change I'm announcing today is that we are delivering on our election commitment to hire 1,000 new RCMP personnel across Canada. Because tougher laws are only one part of safer communities, we also need the people and the resources to enforce those laws. With this significant investment, the RCMP will have the investigative and technical capabilities required to work actively with municipal and provincial police services, such as on critical national security issues, including foreign interference, violent extremism, cybercrime, organized crime, and online child sexual exploitation. This funding will also include hiring 150 RCMP personnel specifically dedicated to investigating financial crimes, targeting money laundering networks, organized crime, online fraud, and the recovery of illicit assets. Financial crimes take many forms, and they are rising with devastating impacts on millions of Canadians. Retired Canadians who spent a lifetime saving carefully are losing thousands of dollars in seconds, sometimes just for answering a call from the wrong person. Plus de ressources pour les GRC, plus de protection pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes. These new measures will keep violent criminals and repeat offenders off our streets. They will protect the people we love, and they will deliver the justice that Canadians deserve. You know, earlier I spoke about the two lessons that Canadians have learned from the past year. First, that we must focus on what we control, and second, that we have to look out for ourselves. But there's a third lesson. We have to take care of each other. And that means empowering everyone in our country to have opportunities to get ahead. It also means taking care of each other. And that means making our communities truly safe by tackling the root causes of crime. We are building communities across Canada, communities with homes that people can actually afford, providing services people need to help break the cycles of poverty and violence, and the support for those needed the most. Earlier this week, not far from here, we announced the first project within the GTA of our new federal housing entity, Build Canada Homes, in Downsview. This development will start by delivering 540 factory-built housing units, with at least 40% of those being deeply affordable. And ultimately, it will catalyze the construction of over 63,000 new homes in the Downsview area. Look, the world is more dangerous and it's divided. It's changing rapidly. We can't control those forces outside our borders. But in Canada, we decide what happens here. And we're choosing to build stronger communities where Canadians can feel safe in their homes, safe in their neighborhoods, and in control of their futures. We're fixing ineffective policies from the past and building a stronger, safer future with tough new laws, big new resources, and practical solutions. We will bring in tougher sentences for violent and repeat offenders and invest in thousands of frontline officers to combat crime in all of its forms. We'll secure our border and protect our sovereignty. We will protect our communities and our way of life. We'll protect your safety and the people you love. And we will build Canada strong. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Merci, Monsieur le Premier ministre. Nous allons maintenant passer à la période de questions. On va faire une question par journaliste. One question per journalist. First question, première question. Prochaine question. Oh, in English.
The question, we work closely with law enforcement, with municipalities, with provinces, and we take the lessons from what's happening in the streets, in our communities, in our cities, and we're making changes. So yes, there are things that are being changed from measures that previous governments had put in place, but that's the right thing to protect Canadians, and we will continue to do that.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. I want to ask about the case of jailed publisher Jimmy Lai in Hong Kong. You've been remarkably silent on this issue. We've heard from Keir Starmer calling for his release, President Trump calling for his release. Why have we not heard anything from you? And will you be granting him honorary Canadian citizenship or even following through with his application for full Canadian citizenship?
Look, we support the freedom of the press, and we would urge the release of Mr. Lai. With respect to citizenship, we have processes to become Canadian citizenship. I'm making the point on humanitarian grounds and our support for, as I say, support for freedom of the press, including in Hong Kong. We first and foremost take responsibility for the citizens of Canada and the residents of Canada. Thank you.
Next question.
Kevin Gallagher with Global News. Prime Minister, you'll be meeting with Premier Ford later this afternoon. He's already come out and said he'd like to see you hit back, retaliate against new U.S. tariffs. So what's your message to him this afternoon? And does it include a new package of retaliatory action and trade action against the Trump administration?
Well, Premier Ford and I are both interested in results for, in my case, for workers and families across Canada. Of course, in his case, for the province of Ontario. And we're looking to work to those ends as constructively as possible. Right now, with the Americans, we're engaged in deep negotiations, intensive negotiations on several sectors of the Canadian economy: energy, aluminum, and the steel sector. The steel sector, it's across Canada, but the bulk of the steel sector is right here in Ontario. And we want to make progress in those negotiations. I'll be briefing the Premier on the status of those negotiations. We'll also be discussing the auto sector, the forestry sector, other parts of manufacturing, and what will make the biggest difference, not just to those sectors, but to all of Ontario, all of Canada, which is where we end up with the review, following the review of the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement, which is coming very shortly. So the strategy has to take all of that into account and deliver the results. Now, last point. We start from a position where we have a better deal than any other country in the world with the United States. 85% of our trade is free. With the exception of Mexico, which has significant free trade with the United States, the deals the Americans have signed with everyone else has tariffs on the core of the trade, and then higher tariffs on the strategic sectors. So we're starting from this stronger position. But we're also very acutely aware and very focused on the fact that we can make it better. And so we will do everything we can to make it better. There's times to hit back and there's times to talk, and right now is the time to talk.